Welcome to today's #Wednesdays weekly session, a weekly information session in collaboration with voluntary sector and public sector partners. Today's session, you'll learn more about the LifeSkills Programme, and the session will be delivered by Emily from Family Action. Over to you, Emily.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you everybody for your time this afternoon and for dropping on to talk to me a little bit about our project LifeSkills. So I'm the project manager for LifeSkills on behalf of Family Action. And if you don't know very much about Family Action, I'll just give you a brief overview of that today. And then I'm going to just tell you some details about how we use LifeSkills, which is a project that's written by Barclays, to really support groups like yourselves to give people hope, to give people aspiration, and to help people to work through areas of their lives that may well be a hindrance or a hurdle to overcome, to get them into a place where they feel more confident in their communities and are able to work towards their life goals. And the other thing that we do to support you is we do offer a grant for every session of LifeSkills that is run of £100 per each session. So at the moment we have got a certain amount of groups that are already working with us in the Northwest, but it's really key to us to try and roll this out into as many different groups, reaching different cohorts and groups of people as possible. So LifeSkills is really about adding strength to families and supporting them, offering some wraparound care to the people that you're working with on a week-by-week basis. And we're doing that through three particular areas. They are the areas of social confidence and building financial skills, and also helping people to get ready for moving back into work. Okay. And at Family Action, there are a whole range of different services available. These are 8 of them, and you'll see that they are very much about building up the family and helping support people to move forward. Now, the life skills sessions fit within the food services, which sounds a little bit strange. You might think, why? What has these areas got to do with food? But actually, when we talk about confidence and returning to work and thinking about getting involved in volunteering, food is really very key, because it affects our mood, it affects our health, and it affects our confidence in being able to get out there and meet other people in society. And we know that as well, if you want to get into the world of work, it helps if you're healthy, you're fit, and you're able to access nutritious meals. And then within the area of finances, I don't know about any of you, but when I look at my budget and I look at the sort of money that I'm spending in a month, and I think, where am I going to cut the costs? I always think that the best area to try and cut cost is in my food budget. And when I go shopping, I always think, got to spend less, got to spend less. So this is really another area where we can sort of meet the needs of the people that come in from the community and start to say, well, okay, we're looking at finances, and we can try and build in some work around food in that, whether that be looking at where we shop, how we shop, and can we batch cook, and can we use other strategies to provide healthy meals for our families while saving money. So the themes, as I've already said to you, are within those 3 topics of employability, social networking and finances. And this just gives you an overview of some of the sort of broader overarching things that life skills can address. So it goes a little bit beyond these things. We talk a little bit about cybercrime sometimes, and making people a little bit more confident and savvy in the world, which can be really supportive for those who are coming across from different cultures. It can be really supportive with refugees and asylum seekers, and we've seen these sessions work really well with different minority groups in society. There are 30 modules of life skills altogether. and they're found on the Barclays webpage. If you look up barclayslifeskills.com, you can access the modules through there. And this is a list of the different modules that are available. So you can see on there, we've got CV skills, work-based techniques, thinking about how to write cover letters, but then also money-based topics as well, such as understanding banks, knowing about insurance, thinking about budgeting and how to save. And then there's these other topics which I think are fantastic, all about your own sort of confidence, and it may well be about handling anxieties and stress and day-to-day life pressures, but also about developing your own strengths and having the self-awareness of who you are and what you bring to the community. So you can see those ones there in things like overcoming setbacks, understanding your zones of control, and developing your own personal brand. When you download the modules, they look like that. They are usually about 10 pages thick, and they're made so that anybody who's got a bit of experience with training or working with a small group can pick them up and run with them, just work with them. They give you times and suggestions of activities, and there's all resources in there all ready to support you. So you can access those, like I say, through the internet. And we recommend that you would use these modules with a small group, maybe somewhere around 6 to 10 people in a group. Children are welcome. And we've got a whole range of different strategies and resources to help you to support the wider family and having the whole family involved in sessions. And you can run these within services that are already available to people who are coming into your settings, or you might want to do them as a summer project or a holiday project or as a standalone set of sessions for people in your community. I'll just show you how it all begins. So when you start a life skills session, every session starts with what we call the learner wheel. And it might be that you just sit there with your small group and you ask them about where on a scale of 0 to 10 they feel they sit within each of the different segments of the wheel. And at the start of a set of 6 sessions, for example, you'd all sit down and you'd grade yourself on your wheel or where you think you are personally. And hopefully, as the sessions progress, you'll start to see people say, well, actually, when I looked at where I was at the beginning, I've made progress now, and I may want to change where I am on my learner wheel. So it's about seeing people being able to take a few steps forward towards where they want to go in their life, and maybe taking a set of those life skills sessions. You might say, we want to do all financial ones, all employability ones, or you might want to do a mixture to give an introduction to life skills in general. But then afterwards, you'd look at where you've gone and how you've grown as a group. And each session, at the end of each session, you will be given an opportunity to set goals for yourself personally as a participant. And those goals are to do with what you're going to do straight away, what you're going to do soon, and the things that you're going to do later. And it's really good to be able to come back together the week after, maybe have some food in your session, have a chat together, get your community around the food and say, okay, so how are we moving forward towards our life goals? So I've mentioned that you're going to have your learner wheel there, you're going to have goals, you're going to also maybe have some kind of food element within your session. It might just be as small as having healthy snacks provided on the table, or you may well give them takeaway packs and things to take home with them with recipes in. Sometimes we put a recipe in a box and put a whole load of ingredients in a box, and and say at the end it goes to a particular participant as a prize, or depending on the cost, it might be that everybody gets something to take home and to sample. So you can use the food element that way. The food element might even come in as part of your teaching on budgeting, and you might, if you have the resources, want to do some actual practical cooking in your sessions. It's very versatile and very much up to you how you choose to use the resources, use the module, and incorporate it into the project that you already have or the group of people that you're working with. So I've mentioned that we've worked in a variety of settings. We work with large charities. We work with some Salvation Army settings. We've got a setting from Mind coming on board soon. We've got other charities that are working with us nationally across the north, central locations and in the south. Some of our groups are asylum seekers and refugees. This is one of those groups. This is in Southend, and this is a group that like to just sit down. You can see they've got their snacks on the table, they've got their Barclays materials in front of them, and they like to do the sessions really like a college-based session. And they talk through key vocabulary, talk about the culture that they've moved into, and the importance particularly of financial skills and financial awareness, and getting set up in a new country. So that is our group in Southend called Welcome to the UK. And other groups may well be completely different. We've had groups that work together and do art projects, for example. This is a community group. Oops, sorry. This is a community group that looks particularly at incorporating into the life skills sessions artwork. So you can see we've got some glass jars there. And when the activities in the life skills sessions were all about what are your strengths, what can you bring to the world, they put all their ideas into the jars and took those jars home with them so they could pick them out and remember those strengths and those attributes that they had to offer and the things that they were working on in their lives. And then here's another one which is a craft activity, and the module that was used was the communication module, and people had a go at some card making and then wrote in those cards some of the things they wanted to communicate to their friends. So you can see that you can use the life skills sessions already in things that are up and running. But equally, you can use them with families too. So here's just a way that you might well take one of the modules. This is the CV writing module, and incorporate it into maybe a holiday project. So you can have the whole family along, maybe do some family icebreakers, a bit of family art activities or family projects. And we've had groups that work in gardens and make and done sort of plants and plant to plate activities and healthy eating activities from growing their own things outside as a family. And then they've come together and done some of the life skills materials from a module within that session, had some time to eat together, discuss some of the questions together, and then done a goodbye game. So it could well work like that. What we say is that within a session, we'd like to see at least 50% of the time being used on the Barclays Life Skills module, as well as the other activities that are going on in your session. And here's just another way as well that you might well take one of the modules. This is from Overcoming Setbacks, and how you might incorporate it into a group where the whole family are involved. So sometimes when you're doing your discussions, you might want to use emojis, and you might want to use diagrams and artwork to portray a response. And you might have comment box maybe about questions like, what situations have you been in where you might not have handled things so well? What did you do? What went wrong? But also activities around resilience and endurance. maybe getting some logic puzzles together like Rubik's cubes and things like that for the family to have a go at. But then you'd add in there the other things from the modules like case studies, and you can tweak them and change them to match the needs of your group. You can give some of that training that's in those modules, like the top tips for handling the setbacks, and then get families to work on activities after together. And it might feel like, oh gosh, well, there's a lot that I might have to change or I might have to tweak for my group. But actually, as part of our team, in my life skills team, we have got coordinators, and one would be designated to your team that is delivering, and they've got a whole wealth of experience of running life skills with a range of different settings, and have various resources to support each module to help overcome barriers. So maybe there may be language barriers, like we've mentioned, learning barriers, cultural barriers, and people have already worked on some of those sort of issues, and we have a whole stock of a bank of resources ready to support different groups with their needs. So here's some other activities that we've used to get children involved, using Small World, Lego, Play-Doh, creating paper plate faces to match the case study, people we've discussed, maybe growing our own herbs and things as we've grown our own skills in our lives, etc. Colouring in and making snacks and those kind of things too, would be things that we'd encourage families to be doing whilst taking part in the life skills sessions. So here's just a test, like a bit of feedback from one of our life skills users who came to the country and accessed life skills through Welcome to the UK in Southend. And it says, I have more confidence in what I'm capable of. I believe I will be a good, hardworking employee, and I can't wait to get back to working. So it just really shown that actually sitting down, thinking about aspirations and what he wanted to do, and I think he wanted to go and work in technology, and he started to volunteer in the library, in the cafe computer hub there, just to aspire and to get experience towards working towards some of the things he wanted to do with his life in returning to work. Planning your personal budget. You can see here we've done a batch cooking session here. This was one of the London groups we had, learning how to create a bolognese, and it was cheap and so much easier than just going off to the takeaway, and much more affordable and much more healthy for you. So we talked a bit about how you can do the planning your personal budget module, but looking at other creative elements like cookery, for example, maybe even planning what you eat for the week, looking at different recipes and food ideas together, thinking about where you shop and how affordable it is. As well, and there's lots of different quizzes and activities both within the life skills resources and that we can provide that you can do around nutrition in your life skills sessions, should you wish to. So just to finish really, life skills, you'll notice we do have a tagline about building communities through food. We want to build up through the delivering of life skills, the confidence in people, that sense of belonging, that sense of I'm part of a community, and that there's strength in numbers, that we're all cheering each other on, and we're all wanting to make a step forward in a positive way out of situations which may be limiting us in our lives. And this becomes a safe space where people are able to develop those skills that they need to move forward, and they're doing it together. And hopefully it will have an impact for health and well-being and confidence in society. So in terms of you guys, if you're interested in life skills, if you can see it working in some of the groups where you are, we'd love to talk about this more. It'd be good for you to maybe even look at some of those modules for yourself. but it'll also be good to pop you into a chat with one of us and our team so that we can look at probably putting you onto a short training session. We ask that if you do want to deliver, you participate in our 2-hour free training if you're going to be a facilitator, and that just goes through how to access the modules, how you might deliver the modules in a little more detail, and then it tells you a bit about booking forms, how to promote your sessions, and the data that we collect from you, because for us we want to be able to evidence to Barclays that giving the grant out to groups nationally is having an impact on a variety of groups within society. So there is a booking form that we ask that each participant fills in, and so we'll talk you through that. And we just ask that you send us a register of how many people have taken part at the end of your sessions. So you pick your topics and we will provide a quick session for you to feel a little more confidence about how you deliver, and always be there to talk through with you any of your concerns or anything that you want to ask about as your life skills sessions get underway. So if you want to have the take hold of the grant offer and use it, there's my email address, and I'd be really keen to talk to you. We have got training sessions that run every 2 weeks or so, and as I say, it's pretty easy and pretty straightforward in terms of the process of how to get on board. We do have a service level agreement for you to fill in, and I'm happy to send that out for you to have a look at if you're interested, and that just says that you'd be happy to make sure that you have DBS checks, that you have insurance cover, and that if you're going to do food, cookery, etc., you have the certification that you need in line with what your company asks you or your charity asks you to have in their policies. And so it's worth reading through that and making sure that you're confident that you can fulfill those things, so that you can access the grant. There you go. So I'll stop sharing. I've talked for quite a while, so thank you very much for listening. If any of you have got any questions or any comments, it'd be lovely to have a quick chat through now, if that's okay with you.